we were really into Kung Fu, both practiced yoga. I've been done meditation and interested in Buddhism, and we're into Taoism, that sort of, those philosophies and stuff. So we definitely brought that to the table when we started creating the show. So it really, it started with a sketch Bryan did of a monkey robot and this kid with an arrow on his head, and he did some sketches of a bison type creature that became off of that. At the time we didn't have a story. We were just like, this is interesting.
He was just sort of like this air shepherd. He was up in the sky,
Yeah, and I was kind of into the whole story of Shackleton and the guys trapped on the South Pole back in the day, and so those ideas kind of combined with Bryan having this like major revelation during a yoga class one night of like these fire people attacking this group of people on the South Pole and stuff,
and this air kid is the one who can
so it kind of through that we're like, oh well, if there's fire and water, there would be other nations, air, there would be earth nation, and so that's kind of where the idea of the four elements nations came from.
Four element theory is in many cultures, including ancient Buddhism. Mike and I it was just this universal thing, and it's something you connect with really quickly. You can say one or two of the elements and people fill in the blanks, and so we liked that the world, you got it.
It started with making this pilot, which was pretty much me and Bryan and some animators in Korea, and then we got picked up for the series, and it's like, well, man, we got to make, at the time it was 13 and then later 20 episodes.
Then 61.
But we had to bring on some great talent, and so we first turned to a lot of people we had worked with in the past. Aaron Ehaus, who became the head writer, we had worked with on Mission Hill.
But Nickelodeon wanted something with magic and action, but it's a kids network, and we couldn't just have straight up violence, and that's honestly not something Mike and I were interested in anyway. But the world of like the kind of wizards and magic and wands and stuff, it never really made a lot of sense to me. It just seemed to me too many loopholes. I didn't understand the rules or limitations. Mike and I both felt that let's do something really physical with the magic. It's magic, but we won't even call it that. It'll just be an extension of the person's chi into the element. But there were limitations. They had to be trained and they had to work and earn these skills. They weren't just like, I'm granted with these powers and I can do things. We arrived at the idea pretty early on, let's use traditional, some kind of kung fu. But we were like, let's just pick one that'll look good in animation, and thought that Northern Shaolin was a good traditional Chinese martial art that had really big, balletic movements, really dynamic stuff, a lot of jumping, falling. Thought this would be a good style, so I found all the teachers I could find in the area, ended up with Sifu Kisu. He had the idea that each nation would have its own style. We kept Northern Shaolin for the Fire Nation. We used Bagua for Air Nation. There's a lot of like tornado power, a lot of spinning. Tai Chi for water, this sort of flowing, balance shifting. And then Hungar for earth, this really strong, like rooted physical one. And I mean, that's it. We mixed stuff as we needed it. Sometimes we needed a move that had a little different flavor, but those were the main ones. The first character we had was Aang, the avatar, the main character. And we knew, like, after coming up with these other nations and stuff, that, he'd have companions on this journey with him. And we really liked the idea of having kind of this brother-sister team alongside him. And that one would be a bender and one wouldn't be. We wanted her to be the water bender. We wanted to give her an arc as well. She needed a place to go. And if she had already lived there and there were all these water benders around, we're like, well, she would have already mastered water bending. What does she need to go on this journey for? So that's where the idea of like that she was the last one left on the South Pole came from. Yeah, it's been satisfying too to have Katara and other female characters in the show that the fans really connect with. The show is pretty much split 50-50 between boys and girls, men and women who like the show. It just shows that you can do a cool action adventure show and it doesn't have to exclude, a whole segment of the audience. To go along with all our kind of main bender characters, we wanted the guy who's like
kind of the audience point of view in a way, where it's like a regular dude who doesn't have any powers hanging out with all these people who do have powers. And even though his sister has waterbending, he's kind of skeptical of it all. He's like, doesn't really think that that's the answer to the world's problems, maybe, you know.
And it's just his smart ass. It's just fun to have that sort of like someone always has to say something about everything, you know. We're huge fans of like big epics and all this stuff. We're also cornballs too. Like we like, you know, cheesy teen romance stuff's always fun. And just that dynamic of like being like the young kid and having a crush on the older girl and she loves you but like a babysitter, you know, like a little brother or something. Especially a kid who feels out of place in the world, and you know she's the first person he has that he really feels a connection with, and it's like his new family. We just always thought Katara would be the heart of the show, and Aang would sort of be the spirit. My guess, the thing that really resonated with people are those character arcs. It's not something you get a lot in American TV animation. You know, this continuous storyline where people actually change and they learn, they make mistakes, and they have to pay for those mistakes. And yeah, we never wanted to be preachy with the spirituality, and we don't claim to be experts in any of this stuff. We just admire it and draw from it in our own lives and try to infuse it into the work that we do. And for us, the theme of the whole series was always about balance. It was always not about good versus evil. It was about a world out of balance. There were these four cultures that at one time had found a way to coexist, and it all fell out of balance. And that's the Avatar's job. It's why he or she is born in each nation in a cycle. It's to kind of spread the love and keep balance in the world. Nickelodeon let us do it, which is the most incredible part of the story. You know, we somehow got away with it and told the story we wanted to in the way that we wanted to.